But did you see the ad from the Lincoln Project?
Yes, and I've got to say, they just totally set themselves up for this. You know, Willie, it's kind of like if you got Nolan Ryan on the mound and there's a batter who keeps toying with Nolan Ryan. He keeps stepping out of the box right when Ryan's ready to deliver. Pedro Martinez did this too and everything. He does it about 3 or 4 times. And you can just get that look that you go, you're setting yourself up. Nolan's going to put one in your back. Well, I saw this Trump take on the old classic Paul Harvey thing. Guy, you know, made a man. Here, when Donald Trump did that, I looked at it and everybody's like, oh, this is so hard. Oh, it's the worst thing ever. And I just shook my head and I said, they're so stupid. Yeah. They really are so stupid. They're going to play for like 3% here, basically claiming he's the second coming of Jesus. And all they're doing is setting themselves up for a blistering parody of this. And sure enough, Nolan Ryan, he wound up really hard, put about 101 mile an hour fastball right in the Trump campaign's back.
And then to extend your metaphor, Joe, goes in the guy's back, and it's Robin Ventura. He charges the mound, and Nolan Ryan still puts him in a headlock and just continues to pummel him. A little deep on the reference. You can look that up. But so let's watch
poor Robin Ventura. How would you like to be a good baseball player and still be known for having a 40-year-old Nolan Ryan pound you when you came out to the mound?
Yeah, Nolan put one on him that day. All right, so here's the ad. Yeah. This is from the Lincoln Project, a group many of you are familiar with, in response to a video shared by former President Trump, which declares, yes, God made Trump, suggesting he's been put on earth to be some kind of a savior for the country. So the new ad from the Lincoln Project is a spoof of that message. Here it is.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a man to test the will and goodness of a free people. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a man who failed in everything but theft and broken promises to live in a golden palace and convince the poor he serves their needs. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a wicked man to lead the common folk with hatred and fear. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a corrupt man who is above the law and immune from justice. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a man who will use violence to seize power. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a man whose followers will call black white, call evil good, and call criminals hostages. So God made a dictator. God said, I need his political party to obey without question, and the press fear his wrath. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a cruel man who uses his power and position to punish and harm his opposition. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a man who breaks the faith of even his most godly followers and leads them to idolatry. Place him above me. So God made a dictator. And then God said, I sent this man to test you, and until you cast him down, you have failed. So God made a dictator.
You know, Jen, it is, we just see the Trump campaign always playing small ball, always playing for their most extreme, setting up the whole, he is a godlike figure. He is the second coming of Jesus. And you know, maybe that plays for the 13% of Republicans that voted in Iowa. But the rest of America is like, oh, come on, man. Just tell me the economy's going to be better and inflation's going down and the border's going to be taken care of over the next 4 years. And just stop all of this chaos and this godlike cult BS. But they can't do it. I mean, you know, if they campaign on the economy, if they campaign on basic stuff, they could actually be in a better position because polls don't matter right now. They just don't matter. But the more I say it time and again, Dan McLaughlin said it at the New Republic. There's a reason that when people talk about Biden, Republicans win. When people talk about Trump, Democrats win. And Trump can't help himself, and he sets himself up for that Nolan Ryan fastball right in the back.
I don't know about I didn't know about the Robin Ventura reference. Okay.
Oh, you got to see this else.
It's like football's more my thing than baseball. So first of all, that I had not seen the Lincoln Project ad, and what's so good about it is not only does it debunk the Messiah ad, but it puts into context, which is so hard to do because Trump does and says crazy things all the time, and outrageous things and things that are a threat to democracy all the time. But that thing does a great job of putting it all into context of how, historically, what the U.S. is dealing with, because we've never seen it before. We've never experienced it. We're able to internalize it and treat it like it's normal and show what put that context into, put that threat into context. The thing that I'm wondering about with him going, come on, man. First of all, as you know, Iowa, not that big of a win. I'm not sure how much, in real terms, how many more votes he got in 24 than he got in 16 because of your people caucused. But to go from there, instead of your rally in New Hampshire, to your sexual assault trial in New York City, if things don't go well for him in New Hampshire, all of a sudden this whole campaign centerpiece of making the courthouse his communication strategy could look like a mistake. If he doesn't do great in New Hampshire, if Nikki Haley catches up to him, Jay Mark's got really interesting things to say about that, then all of a sudden that strategy could look weak. He doesn't handle losses well. That part of it could, that part could fall apart. Things could catch up to him even sooner.
So, Jonathan Martin, Joe cited an important number a little while ago, 14%. 14% of Republicans showed up in Iowa to caucus on Monday night. 14%.
Not a great turnout. Yeah.
And 51% of them voted for Donald Trump. And so there are about 700,000 Republicans in the state of Iowa. Just over 100,000 of them showed up. Yes, it was cold, but that doesn't account for that huge gap in turnout. So what do you read into that, number one? And number two, how does this spin now into New Hampshire?
Well, I think the big takeaway is that there's obviously less enthusiasm and a race that is widely seen as a foregone conclusion. The voters out there are pretty sophisticated, and if they're being barraged for months accurately with reporting that this is not a real race, then they're not going to show up, right? The other big thing, too, Willie, is I think a lot of the Republicans from 2016 aren't Republicans anymore, whether that's Iowa or anywhere else. And look no further than the biggest county in the state, Polk County around Des Moines, and look at the collapse in turnout from 2016 to Monday. That tells you a lot about the realignment of the party and the folks who have simply left the GOP. I think that combined, Willie, with the entrance poll, which showed that 30% of people believed that felonies would be disqualifying, was the most ominous news for Trump. Those suburbanites who are gone, number one, and then the folks who are still in the party, or at least are willing to participate, saying they're not going to vote for a felon on Election Day. That, to me, was the biggest takeaway from Iowa.